Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Promise AK. You'll be talking about Python indexing. So what is indexing? Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Promise AK, and on this channel we help professionals navigate through data sciences, machine learning, artificial intelligence, or any other technological advancement that may come up in the future. If you're new here, you're so welcome. Thank you for clicking on this video, and you're welcome to this community. You could go through the previous videos we have on this channel so you understand what this channel is about and get to know me better. So if you're interested in learning Python, data sciences, machine learning, artificial intelligence, or any other technological advancement or anything, this channel is for you. So do well to click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you are alerted whenever I post any new video. To my returning subscribers, thank you so much. It was amazing having you here in 2022, and this is 2023, so we have lots of things lined up. Just sit back and relax while we go through them one by one. Yeah, in my previous videos we've covered the roadmap to becoming a data scientist or machine learning engineer, and we've covered the first two items on that roadmap. We talked about installing all the packages you need and introduction to Python, basics of Python. I've covered Python data types. I've covered the different actions or arithmetic functions you could carry out with Python. So if you missed that video, you could click on the notification up there. I'll put a link for you to just go watch. And also I've created a playlist called Data Science Roadmap, so we'll be following through. So in case you've missed there, you could just go look for that playlist and follow the videos simultaneously like that, so you understand where we are, so you can get up to speed to what we'll be doing here today. So in this video we're talking about Python indexing. Yeah, so first of all, before we talk about Python indexing, let's launch our Jupyter notebook. So if you go to your search bar and type Anaconda, I know previously I told you of how to launch. You go through Anaconda prompt. Yeah, that's a bit more. I know a lot of people are not really familiar with coding and writing scripts, so it might be a little bit difficult. So in this video I'll be introducing you to a simpler and easier method to open up your Jupyter notebook. Sometimes it's good to learn the difficult things first before learning the easy, so that you can appreciate why it's easy. And also I did that because sometimes we might need to also go through the Anaconda prompt, maybe to install some packages, so it's good to at least learn that before learning this. So just launch your Anaconda navigator. It gives you see this pop-up. I think I've shown you this before. Different platform you could use. You could use Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter Lab. You see the VS Code, Spider. So but for this we'll be focused on using Jupyter Notebook. So you could change your environment. Just go on where you see base root to on. You just change it to the environment you want to use. So it shows you the environment you have in your system. So me, I just want to change it to Python M. So that's what we've been working with. And also if you click on the environment, it also shows you the different environments you have, right? It shows you the different environments you have. And if you also go further to your right, you see all the packages you have under each of those environments. So to create a new environment, just click on the plus sign to create a new environment, and to clone that environment, or to, for example, remember we cloned our base, so just come to clone, click on clone, create the new environment you want to clone. So this is much easier than typing code, but sometimes it's good to actually do things writing out code. So this is just more like click click click. So let's just go back to launching our Jupyter environment. So just click on your Jupyter launch under the Jupyter notebook, and it opens it up in your browser, so you could navigate to the folder, your working folder. But for me, my working folder is on my desktop, so I just navigate through my desktop and go to the top right and click on new and Python 3 to create a new Python 3 notebook, right? So and that launches up for you, and you have your notebook opened. So if you could double click on the title, like the untitled, to change, to rename whatever you want to rename. And you could just navigate through the buttons you have. So you have your save button, you have your plus button, so saves your notebook. Your plus adds a new cell to it. Then you have your cut button, the scissors button, cut, so it cuts out whatever you want, the cell you highlighted. You have your copy button, you have paste button, you have arrow up, so to move things up or down. Then you have the play button where you run a script you have, and you have the stop button where you stop. Then you could also restart your kernel. So the stop button, for example, I'm running something and it's taking too long, I can use the stop button to stop that cell from running. Then you have your markdown and code, so to toggle between markdown and code. So you know your code, you write with your code, and with your markdown maybe write things like headings. So you could go to edit to see the different things you could do. You could just go through, browse through, and understand what all those different buttons means in your notebook. But in this video, we'll be talking about Python indexing. Indexing means referring to or accessing a particular element in a list, in a tuple, or in a string, or any other sequence you have. So before we even go into what indexing are, let me bring you back to your elementary mathematics. So how many of you remember number line? So you remember number line, we have both the negative and the positive numbers. So positive from 0 to infinity, and we have negative from -1 to infinity, right? So in Python, the first item in your variable, or whatever you want to call your string, list, or Python or tuple, has an index of 0. So the first item has an index of 0. So if I write my name, my underscore name is equals to promise, for example, the P in promise has an index of 0. So let's try that out. Let's just list out the different types of data, or data that can be indexed. So we have strings can be indexed, list can be indexed, dictionaries can be indexed, tuple can be indexed, or set. Remember, sets cannot be indexed. So to index an item, you use the square bracket and you use the number you want to call. So if I write out my name, promise, so my name is promise, right? Equals to promise. So if I say my name, use the square bracket and colon 0, the first item returns P, because 0 is the first item. If I use 1, it returns R. If I use 2, it returns O. Yeah. So, and if you say the first, since my name has a length of 7, the last item will be 6, because we're starting from 0, remember. So if I call on 7, because the last item is 6, if I call on 7, it shows you that that's out of range. So if I also put out, okay, my full name is equals to promise space AK, that space is an item in that string. So if I could call on my full name my full name 5, sorry, 5 is the 6th. 5 will be picking the 6th item in the string, and that's S. So if I call my full name 7, what's the 7th index? That's the 8th item on my list, is the space. So it calls that space because that space is an item in my string. So I could also create a new list, a list called cars. So types of cars, so we have Toyota, Camry, Benz, right? So list can also be indexed. So the first item in the list has an index of 0. So if I call on 0, I should get Toyota. If I call on Camry, I should get 1. So if I call on 1, sorry, I should get Camry. Also, if I call on 3, I should get Volvo, because that's the 4th item in the index or in the list, right? So also tuples can be indexed. So if I create a new tuple, I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I call on my tuple 0, it returns 1, because 1 is the first item in the my tuple, and the first item has an index of 0. Okay, if I call on 2, it returns 3, because you understand how that works. So that's pretty much straightforward. So now let's talk about negative indexing. So if I come again, I use promise, for example. So with promise, with positive indexing, you are counting to your right, but with negative indexing, you're counting to your left. So the last item in your string list or wherever has an index of -1. So if I call on my name -1, it returns E, because that's the last item in my string. So let's try that out. So my name -1 returns E. So remember, then the first item has an index of 0 or -7. So I could say, okay, let's try this. So -7. So my name -7 is P. So let's ask the computer. Remember, using the double equals to sign. It's like asking, is this equals to this? So I say my name -7 equals double equals to my name 0, so it returns true because that's true. Then I could also try the same thing with cars. So if I say cars -2 index, so using -2 index, so it's the second to the last item you have in your list, and it returns it as Benz. And you could also try that with tuple. So now we'll be talking about slicing. Slicing means referring to a set of elements. With indexing, you're picking a particular element, but with slicing, so you're referring to a set of items in your list, tuple or string, and you use column to specify. So with this, you specified in your square bracket, you specify the first element, use your column, and you specify the last element. So if you're picking like an index of 7, remember that specifying 7, that 7th index won't be referenced, won't be gotten. It's just the one before the 7. So if I say, let's go back to using promise for example. So if I have promise, so 0 to 6 and -1 to 7, right? So if I say, okay, give me a particular item in this range of element in this. So if I have my name 1 is arrow, right? And if I say my name 1 then :6, so it's giving me range from 1 to 6, but remember 6 will not be included, so it will give me from ROMIS because S is the one before this. So if you are calling the sixth item won't be included in what will be returned for you. So we have my name. If I also do my name 2 :5, so it returns from OMI. The 5th item would not be included, right? So you could also say from 0 to 5. So 0 is the first item, so you have PROMIS. So S will not be included, right? Because you are calling 5. But rather than using 0, you can just, instead of putting 0 :5, just put :5. So it also picks out the same thing. There's no point including 0. So if you want to get everything to the end, so if, for example, I want to start from 3, just from M to the end, just put 3 : and that's it. It returns everything till the last thing you have. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. You could also use this for negative indexing. So I could say my name column then -1. So what is the -1? E. So it gives you everything down to E, but the E would not be included, so it ends in S. So that's how that works. We could also try the same thing for our cars. So we remember we have cars. So indexing and slicing can work for lists, can work for string or tuple. So you could say Camry, Benz. So it gives me, if I say cars 1-4, so it gives you that returns that range of cars or items in your list. So if you want to get everything in the list or the string, just put double column. It gives you everything from beginning to the end. Yes, so that's that for slicing. So that's it for indexing. I hope you've been able to follow through in everything we've talked about today. Yeah, the best way to learn is to follow through. So let me know how you get along, and also in the comment section if you have questions, and I'll be there to answer your question. So a special announcement. So my birthday is in March, and I'll be doing a question and answer video. So whatever question you've ever wanted to ask me, just put it in the comment section between now and February. So I'll be going to the comment section and picking our question. So feel free to ask any question you want to ask, and I'll be answering that for you in March. So it's a sit down video to take all your questions. And also I've been invited to handle a Python training in January, so the 3rd week of January. So if you're interested, I'll be putting a link in the description box or in the comment section. So just click on the link to register if you want to. So it's a 3-day training. So it will be taking place across 3 different Saturdays in January to February. So if you're interested, and you can dedicate that time to learn. So you'll be speaking, so we'll be coding live and going through all these things we've been talking about live in a one-on-one session. So feel free to register. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.